The alarm blared. 6 a.m., just another Tuesday. Or so Michael thought as he fumbled for the snooze button. He wasn't a morning person, but routine had a way of dragging him out of bed. Shower, shave, the same burnt toast his wife swore she'd stop burning. He kissed her goodbye, the kids too, their sleepy faces a blur as he rushed out the door. The drive to work was uneventful, the same radio DJs, the same traffic jam on Elm Street. Michael briefly wondered if anything unexpected ever happened anymore. It was then he noticed the billboard. It featured his company's logo, but the tagline was new. Remembering Michael Thompson, a legacy of innovation. Strange, he thought, but dismissed it as a bizarre ad campaign. Parking his car, he entered his office building. The security guard, usually jovial, stared straight ahead. Michael greeted him, but received no response. Must be having a bad day, he muttered to himself, heading towards the elevator. The day was already off to a strange start, but he chalked it up to a combination of fatigue and an overactive imagination. It was just another Tuesday, right? Little did he know, it was the Tuesday that would change everything. The familiar aroma of burnt coffee filled the office kitchen. Michael poured himself a cup, wincing at the taste. He glanced at the clock on the microwave. 8 a.m. Everything seemed normal, yet a strange disquiet lingered in the air. He couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss, like a glitch in the matrix of his day. He reached for a sugar packet, but it slipped through his fingers, falling straight through his hand and landing on the floor. He stared, baffled. Had he imagined that? He tried again, picking up another packet, and this time his fingers grasped it firmly. He shrugged, attributing the incident to sleep deprivation. Must be seeing things, he mumbled to himself. He took his coffee to his desk, his mind already consumed with the day's tasks. The strange billboard, the unresponsive guard, the sugar packet incident, they all faded into the background noise of his routine. But deep down, a seed of unease had been planted, a tiny voice whispering that something wasn't quite right. The boardroom buzzed with the usual pre-meeting tension. Michael sat quietly, sipping his coffee, reviewing his presentation notes one last time. His colleague, Sarah, leaned over, her face a mask of concern. "Are you all right, Michael? You look pale." He waved her off, forcing a smile. "Just a bit tired," he lied. The CEO entered the room, his face grim. He cleared his throat and began the meeting with a somber tone. "As many of you know," he started, "we recently lost a valued member of our team, Michael Thompson." His words were cut off by the gasp that escaped Michael's lips. All eyes turned to him. "Michael," the CEO continued, his voice filled with what sounded like genuine grief, "was a visionary, a leader, and a dear friend. We will all miss him dearly." Michael sat frozen, his blood turning to ice. He wanted to scream, to protest, but no sound came out. He felt like he was trapped in a nightmare, watching his own funeral unfold before his disbelieving eyes. The rest of the meeting was a blur to Michael. He couldn't focus on the words, the charts, the projections. All he could hear were the whispers, the hushed tones of his colleagues as they spoke about him in the past tense. He felt like a ghost, invisible, inaudible, trapped in a world that no longer acknowledged his existence. He caught snippets of conversations. Such a tragedy, gone too soon, a terrible loss. Each whisper was a dagger, each hushed word a blow to his sanity. He excused himself, fleeing the suffocating atmosphere of the boardroom. He needed air, space, anything to escape the surreal nightmare he was trapped in. He called his wife, his voice trembling. "Honey, it's me. I need you to tell me something, anything to remind me that this is real, that real." Her voice was laced with worry. "Michael, what's wrong? Are you all right? You sound strange." He could hear his children's voices in the background, their laughter like shards of glass piercing his heart. The sun began to rise, casting a warm glow over the chaos that had unfolded. As the first light of dawn broke through the darkness, a sense of calm began to settle. The nightmare was over, but the memories would linger. Life would never be the same, but there was hope for a new beginning. Michael stood by the window, watching the sky transform. He took a deep breath, feeling the cold morning air fill his lungs, grounding him in the present. Without a word, she wrapped her arms around him, holding him tightly. He wasn't alone in this. He had his family, his anchor in the storm. Michael felt a spark of determination ignite within him. The road ahead would be challenging, but he was ready to face it. The dawn had brought with it a realization that even in the darkest times there is always a glimmer of hope.